Hello, today we're going over 3.2, the algebra of functions. In this video, we'll cover problem number 7, finding input and output values of a function using a graph. All right, the same tip as we've gone over previously. You need to make sure you're on the correct graph. Are you looking for f of x or g of x? Then you need to make sure you have the correct value. Is this an input value on the x-axis or an output value on the y? Let's look at letter A. Find f of 1. So first of all, you could go through and highlight if you want to. This is f, here is f, here is f, there's an f, f. So you know where you're looking for f, and then you can highlight g. This is the g of x graph. So here we're looking at g, g, g. Look at E, it combines both of them, so you've got to make sure you're looking at the right spot, g and g. All right, then the next thing we want to do is inputs and outputs. So let's look at f of 1. 1 is an x value, an input, so I go to 1, and I find my corresponding output value, which is 1. Now let's look at f of x equals 2. That is a y value. What is the corresponding x value when y is 2? So if you want, you can just draw that horizontal line of y equals 2 and look and see where is that corresponding x value. Oh, it's right there at 4. When x equals 4, then f of 4 equals 2. All right, let's try g of 0. Now we're over here on the g graph. We know that 0 is the x value. What's the corresponding y value? 1. What about when g of x is 3? What is the x value? So now I'm looking at when the output is 3, draw that horizontal line. So g of x equals 3. Now, what are the corresponding x values? Here we see that the corresponding y values occur in two places. So right here is a function value and right here is a function value. What are the x values when y is 3? Well, it's not exactly half, so maybe 1.3. So right here, 1.3, and over here, negative 1.3. X would be 1.3 and negative 1.3. Notice on our graph of g of x, you can have two inputs that give you that same output here. All right, let's look at the next one, g of negative 1. So negative 1 is the input value. What's the corresponding output? So I go to the g graph, I look at negative 1, and the output is 2. So this would be 2. And then I look at f of 4. So the input is 4 on the f graph, and the corresponding output is 2. So 2 plus 2. So for letter E, the answer is 4. All right, let's go to letter F. What is f of 1 minus g of negative 2? Notice I'm looking at f of 1, so I input 1, and the output is 1. And then I subtract g of negative 2. So I go to my g graph, and g of negative 2 corresponds to 5. So 1 minus 5 would be negative 4. Let's look at the last one. F of 0, so you go to your f graph. When x is 0, y is also 0. So 0 over, and then g of 2, which we don't really care because 0 over anything is 0, so we're done. But if we want to go the long way, let's look at g of 2. So when I plug in 2, I get out 5. So 0 over 5, which is 0. And that's how you find input or output values using a graph. Have a nice day. We'll see you next time.